So you might have just watched the video of Jesus being arrested and dying. If you did not, go ahead and watch that first before this, just because this kind of happened after that. But I have the Stations of the Cross. Usually at a church, alongside the walls or somewhere at the church, they have these pictures, sometimes in stone, sometimes pictures or paintings of the Stations of the Cross. So Jesus was arrested. Judas, his friend, turned him in, right? And he was taken and arrested, and he went to Pontius Pilate, who was the governor of Rome, that area that they were in, and they decided that they were going to kill Jesus. Now remember, that is a very sad thing. It was wrong, right? We don't do that. That's horrible to do, and it makes us sad. But we also have to remember that Jesus did this. He chose to accept that. He didn't run away. He didn't say, I'm not Jesus. He did it because of us, because he loves us, and because he wants us to be able to say, Jesus, I'm sorry for sinning. I'm sorry for what I have done, and I will do better. Please forgive me. So because Jesus did this, we get to do that, and he'll forgive us, and then we will be able to spend eternity with Jesus in heaven, which is amazing. It's paradise. I remember talking with some friends in kindergarten. We said that heaven is the most amazing place ever. Ever. Think of your favorite place, maybe the beach or a tree house or something. It's beyond better than that. I've heard that you see things and hear things that you can't see or hear on earth when you're alive. It's so amazing. And you'll meet Jesus, and you'll meet God, and all your angel warriors, and all the saints. When you do finally go to heaven, it's amazing. Now, I don't want to go to heaven for a long time because I have kids to have and grandkids and my life of things, adventures. But I know that if I keep Jesus in my heart, I ask for forgiveness when I do mess up, I will get to go to heaven. So Jesus did all of this sad, kind of scary stuff so that we could do that. So try and remember that although it's sad, he did it for you, so you can be thankful for him and love him, and make sure that that's why we pray. That's why we spend our special time with him, because he did this for us. So the first station of the cross is Jesus is condemned to death. So that is Pontius Pilate sitting down, and this is a guard. So remember, he asked him, are you Jesus? And he said, he didn't say anything at first. And then when he asked again, he said, that's what people say I am. So that is the first station of the cross. There are prayers and different things that you can do while you go through the stations of the cross. I don't know all those by heart. I have to practice. I have to learn that. That's something that I'm going to practice. But I know that on our school website that there is a great video that you can watch that has those prayers with it, which would be a great thing to do as a family. The second station is Jesus carries his cross. So remember, he had to carry that big cross. When we see the crucifix in our classroom or at your house, he had to carry that big cross, which was made out of a tree, to Golgotha. So you can also see, I'll move a little closer, he has that crown of thorns on. And we learned in when he washed his friend's feet, he's walking without shoes on. So think about, that would be hard. I don't even like to walk on rocks or anything, or sometimes it's not good to not wear shoes outside, right? Moms and dads usually tell you, put your shoes on when you go outside because you might get your feet hurt. So he's not wearing shoes. Then, since Jesus is carrying his heavy cross, and sadly they hurt him, he fell for the first time. So Jesus fell down with the cross. Now, in these pictures, there's nobody there, right? But sometimes there is. But when it really happened, there were guards and people who were telling him to hurry up, maybe pushing him, maybe spitting on him, kind of making fun of him. There were crowds of people watching. Some of them his friends and the people that believed in him that were crying and sad because they didn't want Jesus to die. And then there were some people who didn't believe in him that were cheering that he was going to die. So it was a very sad time. Mr. Glare and I talked about on the way home yesterday, thinking about what would you do if you were watching that? right? It would be hard to not say, stop, don't do that to him. But they knew that this is what Jesus wanted to do. He knew he wanted to do it for us. So next station is Jesus sees his mother. So Mary is there. She sees him. And of course, she is so sad. That's her son. But I'm sure he found comfort and strength in seeing her because it's his mom, right? So that is one of the stations where he saw his mom. The next one was Jesus was kind of going slow, and he had fallen, right? And the guards were kind of frustrated that he was taking so long, right? They're mean. We don't like them. So they chose someone from the crowd. They said, hey, you, come help him carry the cross. Now, they didn't know him. This man's name was Simon, and that he had to help then Jesus carry his cross. Jesus didn't know him. Simon didn't know Jesus, but he was chosen to help Jesus carry his cross. The next station, which is amazing, is Jesus and Veronica. Veronica was a lady who, she saw Jesus, she believed in him, and she took a cloth over to him for him to wipe his face because he's probably sweaty and hot. He might have been bleeding from those thorns a little bit. And so she gave him a cloth. She wiped his face. And amazingly, left on there was a imprint, a picture of his face. So kind of a miracle that he just wiped his face. When you wipe your face in the bathtub, do you see your face on the cloth? No. But Jesus did. It was kind of like a miracle, a sign that it was him, right? Then next, Jesus falls again. So he's really tired, he's hurting, and he fell again. And there's Simon still helping carry it. It makes me very sad when I see Jesus falling in these stations because it makes me wish that I could help, right? And I'm sure that's how all of his friends and his mom felt, right? But this was happening all for a reason. Next, Jesus speaks to the women. So there were people, remember, following him that loved him and believed in him. And these women were crying and praying and sad because this was happening to Jesus. And Jesus spoke with them quickly and tried to comfort them. So even though he's hurting and having to do this, he's still reaching out and comforting those people. Then Jesus falls a third time. So he's hurt, he's tired, and he has fallen again. And there is Simon still helping with the cross. So once they got to Golgotha, remember that big hill, they took the clothes that Jesus was wearing away from him. And what's sad is the soldiers, they rolled dice, they kind of gambled, they split up his clothes. So they took from him, and then he just kind of had a cloth on. He didn't get to wear his clothes. So they took everything from him. So there's some of those guards. Then next, Jesus is nailed to the cross. This is another thing that I know might be sad and confusing and scary for you. But this is what happened, and I'm honest with you, right? You can always ask me questions, and we've had lots of talks about this. But to keep Jesus on the cross, since they were deciding to kill him, they nailed him to the cross. They took nails, and they put a nail in his feet and his two hands. So I know sometimes you guys make drawings of him on the crucifix and you make like a red spot on his hand. That is where they put the nail on the cross. So here is a picture of him being nailed to the cross. And that's the picture that the crucifix that like we have in our classroom that I'm sure you have at your house. And then like they said, Jesus Jesus was on the cross. Those two guys were next to him, right? And above him, you can see this little sign. And they put King of the Jews. So he was on the cross. And finally, sadly, he died. So we're going to say just a little prayer real quick, okay? In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Jesus, thank you so much for loving me, for loving all of my students and their families and all the people of the world. Thank you for doing these things for us and for always being by our side. We love you and we hope that we can keep you in our hearts and make good choices so that you can be proud of us and we can spend eternity with you. So now we'll just have a couple seconds of just quiet, special time with Jesus. You can say whatever you want in your head. And then when I do the sign of the cross, you can as well. And then we'll finish the last station. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, the 13th station is Jesus is taken down from the cross. So his friends were there and his mom, and they were able to take him down from the cross. And they his mom held him. See, they're crying. So then some people went to Pontius Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. So they wanted to be able to give him a burial. So if you've ever been to a funeral, or maybe not, what you do is you're able to, have a celebration of life for that person. You have a church service where you pray, and then you're able to take them to the cemetery and bury them, right? So back then it was a little different. They wanted to take him to a tomb, and we've talked about that before. It was like a big rock cave where they put him on kind of like a rock bed. They had special cloths and oils and things that they put in there and on Jesus. And then they put a huge rock in front of it, kind of sealed it, and would leave Jesus' body in there so that they could go back to that place and pray and know that his body was there. So his friends and people went and got Jesus' body then and did those things and put him in the tomb. And that is the last station. So it was that's the last station of the cross. And the Pontius Pilate, people were worried that someone was going to try and take Jesus' body out of the tomb because it was foretold, like we've talked about, that he was going to rise from the dead, and they didn't want him to do that, so they took guards to stand watch by his tomb so that no one was able to do anything to it. So right now, today, Good Friday, we celebrate, or we remember what we just talked about. It's the day that Jesus died, that he was arrested, he was hurt, and he died on the cross. And then his friends took him and put him in his tomb. And then in a few days, we will be celebrating something even more amazing and a miracle and something foretold that really happened. So I hope that you learned a lot through these two videos. I hope that your heart might be feeling sad, but I hope also grateful and close to Jesus. Make sure that in the next few days you are spending your special time with him. And I am thinking of all of you and praying for all of you as well. I miss you, and I will see you on Easter.